Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Brass Ring Media. It is I, Ashley. It is Saturday morning, 10:15-ish. Good morning, guys. It is the day after July 4th festivities if you are here in the US. I hope everyone is good. I hope everyone, what do they say, has their fingers and all that jazzy stuff. Um, because some of these videos you see, like freak accidents and stuff, it's just like, yo, like you really thought that was a good idea. But anyways, good morning, guys. We'll be talking about some wrestling here. As always, thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate that. If you have not subscribed, please feel free to do so. That would be a great help to us, and to like the stream here, that would be fantastic. If you're watching on Twitter, we appreciate that as well, which a lot of people seem to do. I'm not sure if that's easier or just some people just prefer Twitter or not. But that's cool. So shout out to you guys over there. Appreciate that as well. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I think we are good volume wise, but of course, I am known to speak to myself for minutes on end, so I do not want to do that to you guys this morning. But I saw Fernando in there this morning, bright and early. Good morning, man. Good morning. Buenos dias. ¿Cómo estás, mi amigo? It's been raining, dude. Like, I don't know how heavy it rained last night, but I woke up this morning and it was just drenched everywhere. But people still got in their fireworks last night. Can ask my dogs. But guys, we will be getting into. It wasn't that big of a show, obviously, on SmackDown last night, with it being recorded after Raw, I believe it was this past Monday. So not too much to talk about there. A couple developments for Evolution, so we will just touch on the updated card for that, and then touch on the updates for All In as well. As we all know, it is going to be a stacked week next weekend. Part of it, it's like almost like a blessing and a curse, right? It's almost like it's awesome to have so much wrestling at one, like in one like short period of time. But then also too, especially when it's overlapping each other, it's like, bro, like it kind of sucks because you're bound to get some spoilers from something that you're trying to avoid, unless you have this piece of fuzz that's going to drive me nuts. um, or unless you just completely avoid social media at all, which is easy for me to do, but it does take away if you're watching it live. You know, if you want to interact with people and shit. So pros and cons, you know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like, yes, we as fans get a lot of the fruits from the labor of so much wrestling, but when the companies try to counteract programming, you know, it kind of sucks sometimes. But it is what it is. Business wise, I totally get it. I totally get it. But yeah, so I am going. Yeah, K Smith, what up, bro? Good morning. Good morning, boss Zach. Appreciate you guys for piling in. And like I said, everyone on Twitter, you can't see who's like, I don't know, watching specifically or on Twitter or anything like that. It's not that you can see on YouTube either, but um I don't know. I wish we could like. I wish there was more of an integrated way. But anyway, that's for behind the scenes stuff. But anyway, yeah, K Smith, you were right, dude. You said the crowd was tired. They absolutely were, and I don't blame them. I was talking about this with a friend yesterday. When you go to some of these shows, especially, well, I was talking about All In specifically, but when you go to a Raw, for instance, that you know is going to be a double header, you are going to be in for a long night, a long night. And on Raw, they were already kind of hit or miss in some segments, so you had to know by the time SmackDown came around, it was just not going to be cooking on all cylinders for sure. But could have been a lot worse too. There have been some dreadful crowds in the past, so I'm not going to shit on them too much. And because too, like I know when I get to that point when I'm ready to go, you kind of get not flustered, but you kind of get antsy. You know, it's like, all right, like hurry this shit up, and you don't want to do that, right? Like you paid money, you want to have a good time, and it's not their fault, right? Like if anything, it's a good thing for them, and it's a pro that WWE was doing this to give them the essentially. I'm assuming it was the week off. Obviously it was for the 4th of July holiday yesterday, but I imagine they had the entire week off, and then I guess they'll start traveling. What, maybe tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, depending obviously on which show they're going to. So good for them. I'm super happy about that. I'll never advocate for a live show on a holiday just because it's better for us or anything like that. Because I don't even think SmackDown was a terrible show. It just wasn't anything too newsworthy, which is fine. Not all the shows need to be either. So we aren't going to be getting into like an actual like breakdown segment by segment from SmackDown. Shout out to Vixie in the background. But just a couple of developments, like I said, for Evolution in particular, and then we'll take a look at the updated All In card, chat about that, and then whatever else gets brought up. You guys know how it is around here by now. You know what it is. Oh man, but guys, people are funny. Like the areas that people will find to set off fireworks in, like, as long as they have a couple square footage of area, they will be lighting off some fireworks, bro. Like some people just don't give a fuck. Props to them. You know, I people, for me, like, ever since I saw this one video where this dude was like, he lit like it was like one of those big like tower ones. He lit it. He had one of those long lighter things. So, thought he was being pretty safe. Did it from an angle, like you can lean back and all that shit. All of a sudden, it started fizzing good, and then just blew up in his face. I was like, yeah, okay. And I grew up with a ton of land, so we used to do that shit too. So got lucky. We got very lucky. But you guys want to start with SmackDown, or do you want to, or SmackDown ish, mainly Evolution, or do you want to go with All In and talk about the developments there? And the ratings did come out for this past Wednesday's show, which were not that great, but for me, and again, if you guys have listened to me in the past, I don't harp on ratings. The only reason I bring it up is just to gauge just the overall perception, right? And just the overall, I guess, excitement, right? Because yes, a lot, and I am one of those people. I stopped watching on Sling, for instance, and moved over to Max when I guess we'll start with AEW. When AEW moved over to Max, HBO Max, whatever it's going to be called. So I am one of those people. So the argument that is made for a certain percentage of people no longer watching on, for instance, like TBS and TNT respectively, and watching through Max, I think does have, I would say, probably a good portion of the audience shift. And I think I would say honestly, I've been thinking about this, I would say honestly, maybe about 100,000-ish people. I would say maybe 100 to 150,000 people, I would imagine, maybe migrated from like Sling or Cut the Cord, right, and moved over to Max when AEW, of course, partnered with them. I would be fascinated to really get like a good breakdown of those numbers, just for my personal curiosity. Because, like I said, I am one of those people. It was much easier for me and much cheaper for me. I was able to cancel Sling completely because I was just keeping it for literally just for wrestling. So I do think that has something to be said and should hold some weight. But it is still kind of, I don't want to say jarring because it wasn't that bad of a rating, right? Let me pull it up here. But two, with it being the 300, that AEW Dynamite 300, we'll kind of start with that too, because here we go. Pull it up here in a new link. Man, I miss so much the days of themed shows. In particular, and yes, like we get like the title, right? Like AEW Dynamite 300, right? Or what do they say? Like Bash of the Beach, whatever they're gonna, or Summer Break, whatever it's gonna be called, right? Winter is coming, whatever they have. And this is not just solely on AEW. This is wrestling as a whole, but just talk about AEW right now. I just miss when they would actually build a themed set, dude. Like, and I think that was why I loved the pay-per-views so much back in the day for WWF, because each pay-per-view, the theme of it had a different like set, you know what I mean? Like, again, if you've listened to me in the past, for whatever reason, one of my all-time faves, whenever I sit here and I complain about my missing and my want of the sets back for the stage, is the King of the Ring 2001, man. And I know it may even be ludicrous to some people, but I loved that massive throne, that massive chair, and everything in me. The second I saw it, I just imagined Jeff Hardy either doing a swanton off of the chair itself to the, obviously not to the straight floor, but like through like a table or something like that, or like off of one of like the arms of the chair onto like the seat of the chair, just some shit. And side note, King of the Ring 2001 is a low-key banger of a pay-per-view. Props to Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon for what they did, and oh my god, Shane McMahon, that is when I just became a fan of Shane McMahon, and dude got my respect, bro. So if you haven't seen that pay per view, it's fun. Check it out. But a small example of just the fun that you can have, man. And to his credit, Tony Khan is known for not being a penny pincher. You know what I mean? Like that dude, if it means something to one of the wrestlers or to the fans or even just himself or all the above, like in regards to like an entrance theme, for instance, like he'll cut that check. You know what I mean? Like he's not afraid to spend money in that regard. So I don't even imagine it being anything money related. I don't know if people just don't think about it or if they just don't think it's that big of a deal or need it. And maybe it's not, and maybe it's just something more that I personally want. But man, like I just something like there was no like visual reference of it being the 300th episode of Dynamite, and that's a big deal. That's a very big deal. You know what I mean? Like not a lot of shows, not a lot of shows period make it to 300 episodes, obviously, let alone wrestling shows. So I just thought that if you're gonna hype it up, do it, and if you're gonna acknowledge it, go all out. Like don't be corny about it, but do small stuff. Like even if you're not gonna have like even if you're not gonna be extra and do like big 300 like 300 balloons or like 30 like some like a like sculptures or something, you know what I mean? Like do like a video package or do like I don't know, maybe they did, maybe I missed something. My dog is burying her bed right now. Maybe they did and maybe I missed something, but I just think that they really missed out on an opportunity, and I don't know why. Hold on a second, I'm gonna get it to stop. Relax, people. You got it. Your dogs dig a blanket to try to like bury it, like and like move whatever they think. That's what she's doing. It's one single blanket, and she's just digging away. But yeah, so I don't know. Side rant there. But yeah, I just spice it up, dude. Like hype it up. Like take full advantage of your accomplishments. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just it's kind of my 2 cents, but yeah. And my dog has her hammer. I am going to get that though really quick. I'll be right back. All right, just had to get that hammer. It's great for their entertainment, but it's loud AF. But yeah, guys, so my thoughts there. Appreciate you guys always listening to my rants, but let me know what you guys think too, because again, I sometimes little things like that just stand out to me, and I don't want to say bother me, but it just like shit. If I was like an executive, like I would probably be spending money on, I guess, dumb shit like that. You know what I mean? Or at least making a strong case for it, because I just think it makes it memorable. You know what I mean? Um, say what you want, but WWE when they had like their like 1000th episode and shit like that, like they would go all out for it. Oops, not talking to you, Sari. Sometimes to the detriment of the show. I think there's obviously a happy medium, and I'm not saying every other word should be like, oh, AEW 300 this or and nothing like that, but I don't know, splice it in and give yourself credit, bro. Like I'm sure like TBS, TNT, like whenever they would love to run like commercials for that. Maybe they did. Like I said, I don't watch TV at all, really, besides just wrestling, and like random shows. So maybe they had during like other when besides like like playoff sports and stuff like that. But maybe they did during like random advertisements. But give them updated footage. Like I don't know, man. Like hype your shit up. But yeah, the pulling it up right here. So the official number that it looks like came out reports that AEW Dynamite had 584,000 viewers and received the 0.16 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. And I think there was like four other shows that beat them. Put up the article here in particular. See if it lists. I think it's like an HGTV show or some shit, and like I don't know. But someone had did a graphic as well that showed like the 100th episode, the 200th episode, and the 300th episode. And I'm not gonna pull it up because again, I'm not here to shit on them, but that is why to me numbers matter, just because it's a good gauge and it's a good it's a I don't want to say free, but it's almost like a free resource, right? Like just like Twitter is, and just like social media is. Like yeah, social media can do a lot of harm if you let it, but it also can be a great source and a great tool to get free feedback, right? Like back in the day, to date myself, like we were just sitting at home yelling at our TV screens by ourselves and just waiting to go back to school or to work to talk about it with our friends. Hopefully we have friends that watch wrestling or to bitch or to say like, oh, that was great. Did you see that? Or what are they doing here? Or whatever. Now it's instant. Now before the segment even finishes, as it's happening, we're talking about it, right? So that is very useful for companies. And I'm sure, and I don't want to say I know because obviously I don't know for 100% certainty, but I would imagine like 99.9% certain if you're a company like a Tony Khan, you're out there and you're following what's going on. Shit. I guess I can say that for certain because dude responded to what was it, Figure Four? I think it was like Dave Meltzer or something. I don't follow. I think it was like Figure Four. Let me see if I can pull it up on Twitter because I do follow Tony Khan, and he had responded, and that's how I saw it. It was because he had responded to. I think they said like there was like a delay in like releasing some shit, like some article. Let's see if I can find it. Because I was just like, yeah, here it was the weekly newsletter. I'm gonna share this with you guys 1 second. All right, let me know. Well, I can see that you guys can see it, but yeah. So whatever day it was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday was like the early morning hours, just scrolling around, and like I said, I just never. They were just never in my lineup. But I think Brian Alvarez is that's his name, right? Brian Alvarez is fucking hilarious. So he's great. Shout out to him. But I guess Wrestling Observer, and that's why I don't know. I just don't know. I gotta look more into it. But they, said no newsletter due to technical difficulties or technical issues. I made up difficulties. And then Tony Khan responded saying, "This is pain." So I bring this up. First of all, it's just a little funny. And then people like the responses that they got or Tony got was just funny. But yeah, so I bring that up just because it plays into what I was saying, that the instant feedback, and I guess it is confirmation that they do follow what's happening on Twitter, right? On social media, what we have to say and stuff like that. So that's just where I'm coming from rating wise. Long story short of it all, for me, at least it's not like a laughing point, like, oh, they suck, they're gonna go out of business in X amount of years, whatever. Like if whatever, that's not my business. I hope not. Obviously, I'm a wrestling fan. If they do, that's terrible. I don't think we are ever going to get to that point. Tony Khan, I've only like I don't even want to say met him, but I took a picture with him once, and he was a very nice guy. And that's about it. That's my experience with him. But from what I have seen in interviews and stuff like that, while he is very nice, as like I said, he comes off to be, I am sure he is very stubborn, which I probably, I guess, maybe one of my weaknesses, whatever you want to call it. I am very stubborn. If I don't want to let something die, it grinds my gears, not making sure it does not die. You know what I mean? So, especially, I can only imagine if you're Tony Khan, invested all this time, everything, everything in you, physically, mentally, emotionally, and then obviously not everything financially, but a nice little chunk financially. In your reputation, in your family's reputation too. You're not gonna want to let this shit die. So I don't think we would ever get to a point where AEW is going to die. um, Now, would we ever get to a point where Tony Khan would want to release the reins or anything like that? I don't know. I whatever. But if we, that'd be a completely different hypothetical, right? But the point to this is, I don't think AEW is going anywhere anytime soon. So you just want them to be as healthy as they can be, right? So that's why, in my opinion, ratings are important. Not in the sense that, oh, it's LOL, look at AEW dropped this week. Oh, they lost 150,000 viewers or whatever. It's like, okay, why? Like what the fuck happened? What's going on? So yeah, we'll see. We will see. The boss, what up? What up? You said you said who spent $200 on Seth's briefcase? Is that how much they are? No fucking way. Oh, Grandmaster, you said what is Sling? How many channels cost? So I'll be their spokesperson. Sling is fantastic. I used Sling for years. They have 3 different packages, 2 technically, 1 you can bundle. There is a blue and an orange package. Each package had different variations of channels. But the thing is, for instance, for me, the channels that I mainly cared about were like ESPN, USA Network, TNT, and there's one other. I did get access as well. But those were like the main ones that I was concerned about. The thing is, ESPN did not come. I forget which color specifically it was, but ESPN and USA Network did not come in that same like singular color. So if you wanted to get both, you had to buy the combo, which was like the blue and the orange. Which I don't remember that exact cost, but for instance, just for I think I had blue for the color that I had, it was like $49.95 a month, and then I spent an additional $5 for I think it was like 200 hours of DVR storage to record shit. So it ended up being like $56 ish a month after taxes or whatever. I think the joint package that they had, the blue and the orange, potentially was like 65, something like that, right, Cal? It was like you saved like maybe like $10 or something, as opposed to like if you had stacked them both up. But it was fantastic. It was great. They had a whole bunch of different channels. I'm gonna say maybe like my package had like 50 or 60 channels. Maybe I don't remember the exact amount, but it was ideal for what I needed. And they have a on-demand feature as well for each channel. Cool shit. Cool shit. And it was a way that you could purchase pay-per-views as well. Get up there then. Don't make it about you and get up there. But yeah, and Sling was available. The only thing that I kind of sucked was you couldn't download Sling on PlayStation for whatever reason. It just like I guess Sony just didn't have that in like their marketplace, like whatever they call it. So that was the only thing. I could only download it on Amazon and Roku and Xbox. So yeah, cheap plug for Sling there. But like I said, fantastic. The only reason I canceled it was, and it's month to month, so you can cancel it anytime. And sometimes they even do like a free trial. The only reason I canceled it though was because, like I said, I literally just used it for 2 channels. And then once I was able to start watching wrestling on Max and Netflix, I just canceled it. But if you have a family who like loves like various channels, definitely check it out. Plug in it for them. But yeah, no, for real, they're pretty dope. And for me too, like where I lived up in Virginia, I had very limited access to cable packages, like just like for satellite period. Like I wasn't able to get like hardly any reception, so randomly Sling started working out there. So yeah. But what up, guys? I'm just going through your chat here really quick. Oh, great mess. So you said Observer has always been better. Okay, I honestly, I've just never read anything like from them. Like nothing ever even popped up. I don't even remember how I found PW Torch way back in the day. I couldn't even tell you. I think randomly on like a podcast, I on the podcast feed, I saw PW Torch pop up. That's the only thing I can think of. Um, yeah, hey, but we all have our cup of tea, right? We all have our podcast. Nah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think AEW is dying at all. I'm not sure if anyone else said it in the chat, but nah, they definitely are not dying. Yeah, nah. Nah, AEW is not dying. AEW, I mean, shit, they may not be the most exciting right now, but neither is WWE. So, and neither is Diet. You know, there's reports that WWE or TKO rather is like however many in debt, whatever. That is not a billionaire's money problems is the least of my concerns. You know what I mean? So I could care less about that shit. Oh yeah, I pulled up WWE because I wanted to see that briefcase. Yeah, you're right, dude. Whoever said that shit, $200 is the going price for Seth's briefcase. That's wild. Just give it a month or two, especially after he cashes in. That shit will go on sale for like $50. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, I'm gonna close out because then I'll dive down the rabbit hole on that. But all right, guys. So continuing on with All In, the card has taken shape. I still don't think this is the final card. Let me move some screens around. I'm sorry for clicking. I'm sure that shit is getting annoying. But here we go. But the official card, and I did a show on this not too long ago. But the official card for All In, we'll do an overview and then we'll kind of get into it a little bit. We have the men's and women's casino gauntlet match for this a future AEW men's and women's respectively championship match. We have Swerve and Osprey facing off against the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. Of course, if Osprey and Swerve lose, they cannot challenge for the AEW World Championship for 1 year. However, if the Bucks lose, they will be stripped of their executive vice president titles. Can't forget Adam Cole. Adam Cole, our TNT champion, will be facing off against Kyle Fletcher. The Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin will be defending their tag team titles against Jet Speed, if they can walk, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey. We have Kazuchika Okada facing off against Kenny Omega. Both of their championships will be on the line in a winner-takes-all match to unify the Continental Championship and the International Championship. Not to be confused with the Intercontinental Championship. And it will merge into a unified championship, which is the name. If you start watching a year from now, brand new wrestling fan, you turn on AEW, you see Kenny Omega come out and you hear he's the unified champion. What is he? What the fuck is unified? What did he unify? Good luck down that rabbit hole. But I need to shut up. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just like, really? Really? Like, that's the name? Like, I'm just gonna, really quick, I love that they are unifying the titles. Fucking fantastic. Thank you. I would hug you, Tony Khan, if I could. But, like, the name, just like the unified championship, just like, I feel like we're missing a word. Like, unified championship. The unified what? The unified what? Championship. I don't know. Maybe again, y'all. Like I have issues. I admit that. So maybe it's just me. But when I when I first read, because again, sometimes, well, most times, I'm watching shit on delay, or I'm just like catching it and like watching, like, like if I'm on break or something, I'll see tweets on delay or something. Tweets on delay. Yeah, it sounds like a service or something. But I saw like in the announcement, like it, blah blah blah, like to become like the WWE or WWE, Christ, the AEW Unified Champion. And I thought they left out a word. And I was like, so I went to the comments to see, like, like correction, like blah blah blah. And no. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just wait a little bit and I'll come back to it later on to see. Because, just or if you're in the bathroom really quick, checking your phone. And no, that was the actual name, the Unified Championship. I was like, okay, well, we're just unified. All right. We also have Timeless Toni Storm defending her AEW Women's World Championship against Mercedes Moné. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Chris Statlander won a championship. I'm not sure of the promotion, but she won a championship, and Mercedes commented on it. I think with the eyes, and Chris Statlander was like, "Stay away from me" or some shit. It's funny. I'm just at the point where it's very comical to me. So fuck, man, just get her to 10. Get her to the Ultimate Dragon number. Get her to 10, bro, and just call it a day. It's so funny. Can you imagine? Like, serious question. How does she carry her? Like, how does she travel with them all? Your carry-on luggage has got to be just the titles. Is she at the point, like, can AEW transport them for her? But they're not all, obviously, thankfully, they're not all AEW like title belts, like property. So technically they wouldn't be responsible for them, right? Like she technically would be responsible for the property itself. So does she really have to carry all that shit around? Surely you don't want to check the bag and have that bag go missing. I have questions. I have a lot of questions. I see these are the hard hitting questions that we need these reporters to ask when they go to the media scrums. Like, truthfully, like how do you carry all this shit around? How do you do it? And well, now she's got the Beast Morto, so I'm sure he can fill up his carry on with some of her titles. So that actually works out. He just needs one for his mask. I think I just solved it. Anywho, the point of this is, I mean, this isn't a prediction show, but I'm concerned, guys. I'm concerned. I think I'm really torn. I'm thinking Mercedes is gonna pick up another championship in this match, but part of me feels too, though, like, yes, Mercedes is it. Mercedes is who she is. Like she's one of, if not the best. Toni Storm, though, is obviously not AEW homegrown or anything like that, but Toni Storm, bro, when you look at her, kind of like Swerve. When you look at them, dude, like they just feel like they're AEW. Like they feel like they've been there from jump. You feel like they've never been anywhere else. Like when I saw a picture, Mercedes posted it on Twitter. A picture of Sasha Banks and Toni Storm on like a random SmackDown, I think it was. I was like, wow, like Toni Storm is a completely different person. Completely different person. And all the credit to her in the best way possible, right? And same thing with Swerve. And I wanted to go back and listen to it. I was just scrolling through the not the network, but the WWE hub on Peacock last night, and I was going through like just all their shows because I wanted to peek behind the curtain. I wanted to watch Taboo Tuesday from 2006 with Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena. And I was going through the shows, and what was it called? Swerve City or something? I was like, what? And it unlocked that memory. I was like, oh my gosh. Swerve had a podcast on the network, and he was just like interviewing like random wrestlers and shit. Bro, and I forget who he had with him. I think the dude who actually helped him with his theme now. I gotta go back. But it's just like, wow, like completely different person. Completely different person. So yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like I wanted, like, if you were to, I would say, ask the general population, right, you would say, yeah, Mercedes is most likely gonna win, or she's gonna win. I I don't know, man. Like, I think it's like 60-40. Honestly, I think it's 60-40. Mercedes with the 60, Tony with the 40, but it's one of those upsets. Like, people didn't think the Pacers would get as far as they did. I think if Tyrese didn't get hurt, I think game 7 could have been a little bit different. I don't think it would, potentially would have been drastically different, but I think it would have been a little bit closer. But things like that, you know what I mean? Like, just that small little chance, that small little window that Tony has. And I don't know. I'm going to wait again, obviously, to officially make a prediction, but that's going to be a tough one for sure. But let's see what you guys have to say here in a second. But the big addition to the card coming out of this week was the addition of the Texas Death Match stipulation for our main event, which of course is Jon Moxley, the AEW champion, defending the title, the briefcase, against Hangman Adam Page. The title that was, right? Again, I'm gonna hold off getting into full predictions. I did a show on it yesterday, I believe it was, over on my channel, Kick Ash Podcast. So feel free to check that out if you'd like to get a inside thought, inside early take on it. I guess it would be considered, but I'm still worried, man. Long story short, I'm still worried about it, but I'm gonna hold off on the predictions really hard, not to talk about thoughts on the actual outcome, but I'm very happy they added the the Texas Death Match stipulation, because we all know what this match was going to end up being, right? Bloodline, WrestleMania, main event 2.0 type shit. Which is fine. Not even knocking it. That's this situation, the environment that each match has been, right? Each title match, each championship match that Moxley has been involved in, everything has had fucking Wheeler Yuta and all the minions, right? Claudio, well, oh my god, I almost called him Neville. Pac when he was around. Um, it's time. It's time that we finally get some retribution. No pun intended out there. But I think the best way to account for the expected interference is to just allow it to happen, right? And not to make your referees look dumb as fuck, and to have that one guy laying down for 5 minutes acting like he can't hear entrance themes going off. You know what I mean? So obviously, like I said, next week will be heavy. It'll be a heavy, heavy week for content next week. We'll be getting into the official predictions, but I at least am happy with the layout of the card so far. Again, like I just said, with the addition of the stipulation for the main event, look, I think that they do these matches sometimes too frequently, even so. Maybe, like if you have to do them like twice a year, if that, maybe I would say I would advocate for once every year and a half ish. In not even like, oh, okay, it's almost been a year, we got to do this. No, like when the situation arises for it, and this is that situation. I think it was, excuse me, funny that they didn't reference directly that they both of them together had been in a Texas death match before, and Hangman won, which does concern me as well, because he won. Then is he gonna go 2-up on Mox? So concerning, depending on which side of the fence you're on with that, but between that stipulation and the stipulation on the tag team match, where if Ospreay and Strickland lose, then they cannot challenge for the AEW championship match for a year. I think that is fantastic, and I think that was needed as well. I go into more depth on it, like I said, on my show. I don't want to take up all your guys' time with that, but kind of the long story short of it, I think it's needed, and I think it answers and solves a lot of good problems that Tony Khan has booking wise. It automatically slots Ospreay and Strickland on like these sides. We're like, okay, well, they can't get to this realm, so we'll do this, and this until we can get back here. Leads to All In next year, which is perfectly enough in the UK, which, I mean, obviously, Ospreay, UK, duh. ties into him wanting to win the big one. Hasn't won the big one. He's been just fighting and clawing since then, or since he's come to AEW. He declared that he wanted to win the big one at All In this year. He made it so close, but just barely missed it right there at the end. Next year, it's going to be completely different. I think he takes a very similar, if not the same, trajectory going through the tournament. And I think that would actually be the best route for it. Excuse me. Because there's nothing better than a babyface's actual win, an actual like the 1, 2, 3 count and the crowning of that moment of that championship moment than the actual struggle to get there. You know, like that's sometimes and a lot of times actually even better than them winning the title itself, and the defending of the title is them winning, like the climb and the actual culmination of it, and then it's like, oh shit, what do we do now once you get there? So next year is gonna be fun. Next year is gonna be fun, and I think in a lot of ways, Tony Khan answered a lot of or solved a lot of problems, good problems that he had with one stipulation. So props to him, and whoever came up with that, pat yourself on the back. Great job. So yeah, some thoughts really quick there on AEW All In and the development of the card. What up, David? What up? What up? Oh, it's a flag. It's I can't move the camera, but it's a flag from Punk's days in AEW. Thanks, appreciate that. I'm very happy I got it when I did because it's only like $25 and they didn't sell it for that long, and then obviously he ended up leaving. Maria, what up? What up, Maria? Oh, K Smith, did you really? You said you rewatched that triple threat with HBK, Cena, and Angle? Yeah, dude. So good. Such a good match. What up, James? What up? What up? Or I see you in there. All right, and then moving on to the developments for Evolution, guys. There is a lot going on, like we have been saying. Next week, pull up the card really quick. To be honest with you guys, it's really not the best look for WWE because they have really just like thrown this shit together. I'm just not. Last night, the segment with Trish, Tiffany, and Jade Cargill was just not it, man. Not it. And no shame to them. It was just the material. Like, really? Like, okay, so you have, so Jade's out there, Tiffany's out there, and then you have Tiffany. Well, I'm sorry. I forget the order who came out when. But regardless, you have Tiffany calling Trish Stratus to come out there. Like, Tiffany has a surprise for us. So Trish comes out. Okay, cool. And then Tiffany's like, Trish, here you go. Here's, I want to defend my title against you at Evolution. With Jade just standing there. Like, and Trish is like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, thank you. Like, okay, like, what? Like, what? And then later, like, right after that, they go to commercial and then they come back and Jade's like backstage or whatever, and then Trish is like, oh, like whatever, like Jade's pretty much like, oh, essentially it could be you and I at SummerSlam, and Trish is like, yeah, I'll see you at SummerSlam, and like, what, like, it just feels so much of an afterthought, the whole construction of the card, and I feel like not that the paper or PLE itself was brought back just for counter programming, but the time slot for it and the date of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. And again, I'm not it it is what it is. Business is what it is, and I don't care about that. It's fine, but it's just like, bro, like you literally have one women's pay per view, and you're gonna do it like this weekend. Like, come on, and you're gonna do it like so like such an afterthought. It just feels a little disrespectful to me, to the talent, in my opinion. And again, I I the whole it was the presentation of it. Do I think, or it's not even the fact of it being a match between Tiffany and Trish. That's fine, cool. That could be a fun match, whatever. That's fine. But like you just the setup of it, really, like you just have like you have Tiffany go out there, call Trish out there as a surprise. Be like, oh yeah, like here's a title match for you, and just like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Thank you. Like, and then Tiffany's like, oh well, yeah, I'm still gonna win though. It's not like the Attitude Era days. It's not gonna be easy. Like what? Like come on, bro. Come on. Like do better. Do better with the material. Now, again, not the talent. Maybe you could say something about the delivery or whatever, but I don't even. To me, it wasn't even that. It was just the whole setup. It was the setup to me, like just what they had to say. Like we've known this pay per view has been coming. Like I don't know, man. I don't know. I just feel like the whole build to the card, the matches that we have on the card so far, it just the vibe around it just could have been better. The whole, and again, to be fair, what was it, 2018? Whereas back in 2018, Evolution was a big deal, right? Because women weren't at that point, like women were just at that point starting to become more and more of a regular deal on TV, being on pay-per-views and stuff like that, main eventing some shows. Obviously, they would go on to main event WrestleMania the next year. So they were becoming a bigger deal on the card in the sense of being taken seriously, right? It was no longer the bra and panties, a 1-2 minute match for a tag team where they had entrances and stuff. So it was being taken seriously at a point where it kind of was like a little bit of evolution of the division, right? Not to be corny, but it kind of was. And at that point, it was a big deal. Whereas in a good way, ever since then, like women have become more and more of a staple on the shows. So it didn't feel as much of a necessity for the PLE itself this year as it did years ago. But if you're gonna do it, then do it, bro. Then put effort into it. So I think the women are gonna go out there and just fucking deliver and really make the most out of what they're given. So I'm not concerned about that, but they could have done better with it. So we shall see. The card, though, the official card so far is JC Jane and we'll talk in a second. But we have a singles match, JC Jane, your NXT Women's Champion, facing off against Jordan Grace. Io Sky, of course, our women's champion on Raw, if you remembered her, is facing off against Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez. Roxanne's filling in for the injured Liv Morgan, facing off and defending their championships against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus two additional teams, TBD. We have a battle royal set for a women's world championship match at Clash in Paris. Tiffany Stratton, your SmackDown Women's Champion that we just discussed, facing off against Trish Stratus, and Jade Cargill facing off against Naomi in a no holds barred match, which I think will be very good. People um I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised by that match. And look, I think this is going to be another coming out for Jay. Like, look, bro, people have been talking shit about her in-ring ability, whatever. I haven't been as hard on her as some people. But look, if you can't go out there and just beat the fuck out of somebody, then maybe wrestling isn't it. So I think this is going to be a big night for her too. But I have faith. I'm not one of those people. I'm not concerned. It is what it is. Like some people just take a little bit longer than others. And some people just I don't know. Like I see what people are saying. You know what I mean? She's not as smooth, but I'm not pressed. I think this is gonna be a good match. I think Naomi is going to want to go out there and prove a point, and I just think it's gonna be fun. I think they're gonna beat the shit out of each other. Because if you're Jade Cargill, the character, right? You're just fed up. And last night, right what I was talking about earlier with her and Trish backstage, Trish walked out and left the scene, and then next thing you know, you have Naomi hitting Cargill in the back with the briefcase. Jade's, irritated. Aldous comes over and he's like, Jade, you okay? She's like, I'm fed up with this shit. She didn't say shit. And then he grants the match. So you're Cargill, you're pissed, you're fed up, How long is this gonna go on? And you weren't even the aggressor. Naomi was the one who started all this. So I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be a fun match. But another travesty is Io Sky, dude. Io Sky, like, where has she been? It's just, I don't know what's happened. With the shift of the mentality from Triple H going from NXT Triple H to like main roster Triple H in regards to the women. But bro, like it's night and day, and I don't understand. Maybe it's just he's just got too much going on, and he doesn't have the time to singularly focus on each division that he did, and that isn't even a question. That's a given, right? Like you go from being in control of like this one little area to being in control of like a whole country, essentially. Like what? Like what? Like it'd be like going like being like a governor, right? Like being a governor to a president. It's like, oh shit, like yeah, like you're not gonna focus as much on like this little town, this little county, this little whatever, because now you have multiple states to take care of if you're in the US, right? So I get it, but enough is enough, and it's time for a change, as the great Owen Hart would say. So we will see what ends up coming to fruition with this ELE. I don't know. I just think it's funny too that NXT had to go through like a whole tournament, and we have Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton just be like, "Here you go. Here's a title match. Oh, thanks, bro." I just think it's funny. But yeah, guys. So that is the week, essentially. Like I said, we had a holiday week, so SmackDown wasn't too heavy there. Yeah, next week is gonna be a heavy week, guys. Next week is gonna be the mothership. Not the mother of all shows, because that's WrestleMania time, but a heavier show, nonetheless. And then obviously, we will be going into a few different shows. I'm going to let me see. Didn't talk about Saturday night's main event, but obviously I want to save that for next week. I do watch-alongs on my channel, Kick-Ash Podcast. The issue is, obviously, the overlapping of content for next week. So I'm going to, after I do the show here, on my Twitter, at Kick-Ash Podcast, cheap, I guess, plug, _. Let me know, first of all, obviously, if you are going to be watching the watch-along, if you would prefer to do, what show would you prefer? AEW or WWE, essentially. Not to put the sides against each other, but I mean, they did it to themselves. So let me know what guys you would prefer to stream. We can do Saturday night's main event, or we can do AEW All In. So let me know. And again, if you don't watch, or if you don't fuck with watch-alongs, I was trying to think of another way to say it, but if you don't fuck with watch-alongs, I get it. Like I said before, I never really sought them out, and so I stumbled upon one day. And I was like, oh, it's actually kind of cool. So yeah, feel free to join me. I'll have more information next week, more confirmation of what the actual plans will be. I will be streaming it on Twitter as well now, so that'd be kind of cool. So yeah, we'll be doing that, figuring some stuff out next week. Obviously, we'll have the go home shows for each brand respectively that we'll be able to chit chat about. I think, well, Wednesday and Thursday I have a procedure that I have to get done, so I don't think I'll be doing any streaming on Wednesday or Thursday. Friday, I think I might be going back to work on Friday for my full time. I might have to take that day off. But essentially Wednesday, Thursday, and potentially Friday, I will not be able to stream, but Saturday I'll definitely be good. And then Tuesday I know is like the last like official work day I have. So I'm gonna figure stuff out for next week scheduling wise. And then of course you always have your standard Brasswing Media content here. So if you have not already, please subscribe here on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, just make sure you're still following us over there, and then you can just stream the shows over on Twitter as well. If you do watch stuff on YouTube, feel free to give us a subscribe over here. I heard someone say it's free and it's like wiping your feet off when you go to someone's house or whatever. Which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's easy to do, and it does help support the channel and get us out there in the algorithm and keeps it growing. So the channel here, Brasswing Media, we're inching our way to 100K. So that's pretty dope. Obviously we merged with One True Sport, so collaboration has been dope. So that is an attestament to you guys, and we appreciate that. Stream on Sunday, Ash. Oh, that was the last comment that just came up. Tomorrow, I don't know, my friend. I don't want to say yes 100% certain. TBD, but not a cheap plug, but definitely subscribe to my channel, Kick-Ash Podcast. If so, turn on your notifications because I am very random, and that is the best way to keep tabs. It's actually the best way because sometimes I don't even be posting shit on Twitter until after the fact. So, yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Sai. What up, man? What up, Sai? I appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you popping in. But guys, you guys have been fantastic as always. I agree, Sai. The women's roster is hotter than it's ever been and stacked, dude. Stacked with talent. Logan, don't say that. You think Io's gonna lose? I could see her as just a badass IC champion too, though. Yeah, James. Yeah, you said, yep, they just going back to y'all's chats here. You said, yep, they always said the moneymakers and the babyface chasing the championship, but once they win it, it's not long before ratings and attendance begin to drop slowly. Isn't that crazy though? And it kind of speaks to a greater stage to how society is, in my opinion. It's like, oh, we love you on your grind and your hustle, and we support you, but then once you get to the top, it's like, all right, on to the next. It's so shitty. So shitty. Yep, I don't know. I saw someone say, or Sai said, I think we're learning from this chat. We all have our favorites. Yeah, and that's I didn't see exactly what you guys are talking about, but yeah, that's literally the beauty of what we do here, and the whole, literally, like the point, or my whole point of doing streams and shit like this is because more and more people find the channel, more and more people find the shows and pile in here, and we talk about our sides, and we talk about our thoughts and just bullshit, man. Like, it's a great escape from the real world too. But yeah, as always, guys, I appreciate you all for popping in here. Close that out. Next week is going to be fun. It's going to be a busy week, so definitely stay tuned. Like I said, a lot of you guys are watching over on Twitter right now. I appreciate you all so much. Again, if you have not, feel free to like and subscribe. That definitely helps the channel out here. If you are watching on replay, feel free to drop a comment and share your thoughts there. We love to know that as well. But guys, until next time, thank you all again for joining. take care. Stay safe out there. It's still a holiday weekend if you're in the U.S. So people are still crazy out there. Be safe and enjoy some wrestling, guys. Take care.